The library stood at the end of a narrow street where dust learned to be quiet. Its windows were tall and cloudy, as if they had been breathing stories for 100 years and never quite cleared their throats. People came and went, students with heavy bags, old men escaping the sun, children tugged along by patient hands, but the books stayed. They always stayed, and the books remembered, not the way people do, with faces and voices and names spoken aloud. Books remembered by touch, by the weight of a reader's palms, by the pauses between turned pages, by the warmth left behind like a fading echo. Every book knew who had last read it. On the third shelf from the floor, in the corner where the light arrived late, lived a thin blue book called The Long Way Home. Its spine was cracked from being opened too carefully. It remembered a girl with bitten nails who read only the odd-numbered pages because she was afraid of endings. When she left, the book felt lopsided, like a sentence missing its last word. Above it, a thick history book remembered a man who smelled faintly of rain and impatience. He skimmed, skipped, argued silently with the margins. The book had not liked him much, but it remembered him all the same. Books do not get to choose. Some books were proud of their readers. Others carried their memories like old bruises. The librarian, Mrs. Adiemi, did not know this. She believed the library was quiet because silence was polite. She did not hear the soft settling sighs when books were returned, nor the small, papery flinches when the wrong hands reached for them. Still, she sensed something. She dusted slowly. She shelved gently. She never slammed a book shut. There was one book, however, that remembered too much. It sat on a low table by the window, never quite finding its way back to the shelves. Its cover was plain brown, its title faded to a ghost of letters. Inside, the pages were soft as cloth. This book remembered a boy named Daniel. Daniel had read it every afternoon after school. He read with his whole body, knees tucked up, chin resting on the page, finger tracing sentences as if they might run away. He laughed in the wrong places and cried without wiping his eyes. When the library lights flickered, he did not look up. The book learned the rhythm of his breathing. It learned the sound of his heart slowing as he read. It learned how his hands shook when the story grew sad. Then one day, Daniel did not come back. The book waited. It waited through dust and sunlight and the careful turning of seasons. Other readers tried to pick it up, but the book resisted in the only way it could. Its pages felt heavy, uninviting, as if they did not wish to be touched. People put it down again, unsettled without knowing why. Books can be loyal like that. Weeks passed, then months. The memory of Daniel did not fade. It pressed against the book's spine, stretched thin across every page. The book was full, and yet it felt empty. Other books whispered at night when the library was locked and the moon slept through the windows. He might come back, said a poetry book that remembered a woman who underlined everything. He never does, replied an atlas that had seen wars begin and end between its covers. The brown book said nothing. It held its memory like a breath it refused to release. One evening, long after the sun had gone, a new girl entered the library just before closing. She was small and moved carefully, as if the floor might object to her weight. Mrs. Adiemi watched her wander, watched her fingers hover without choosing. Then the girl stopped at the low table. The brown book felt her before she touched it. Her hands were colder than Daniel's had been. Her palms were hesitant. When she opened the cover, the book shuddered not in fear, but in recognition of something it could not name. She began to read. She read slowly, as if each sentence needed permission. She paused often. Sometimes she pressed her thumb into the margin, leaving a crescent moon of pressure. The book felt its old memory stir, not replaced, but nudged aside, making room. This hurt. Books are not meant to forget. Remembering is their purpose, but remembering is also a weight, and the brown book had been carrying one reader for far too long. The girl returned the next day, and the next. The book learned her silences, learned how she skipped descriptions but lingered on dialogue, as if listening for voices she had lost. Learned the faint smell of chalk on her fingers. The memory of Daniel did not disappear, but it softened, like ink left in the sun. Other books noticed. "She's changing it," murmured the blue book on the third shelf. "That's how it goes," said the atlas. "Nothing is read only once." One afternoon, as the girl reached the final page, she closed the book and held it against her chest. Not tightly, just enough. The book felt something loosen. When she placed it back on the table, the brown cover no longer resisted. Its pages rested. The memory of Daniel remained quiet, folded neatly between chapters, but it was no longer alone. That night, when the lights went out and the library breathed its long, wooden sleep, the books were quieter than usual. Not because they had forgotten, but because they had learned that being remembered does not mean being held forever. Sometimes it means being read again. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time.